Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really focusing in. We're going to simulate one of the toughest situations you could face in the resus bay, managing a traumatic arrest.
Mm.
And this is specifically a mental rehearsal for you as the team leader. We're trying to move beyond just the technical stuff.
Yes, it's about mastering the non-technical skills, the crisis resource management, because that's where things can go wrong.
So this is the cognitive blueprint, really.
Yeah.
How to manage yourself, the patient, and the whole chaotic system.
Exactly. And that cognitive piece is the absolute difference maker. When you look at the data, it's pretty sobering.
I was just looking at this. It's something like 60 or 70% of all clinical errors are down to human factors, right?
At least. And communication failures are the root cause in, I think, over 70% of major sentinel events. It's huge.
And this whole framework, this CRM, it comes from the aviation industry, doesn't it?
It does. They figured out a long time ago that technical skill isn't enough. It's the teamwork, the communication, the cognitive skills under pressure that optimize performance when everything is going sideways.
So the goal then is to shift from being reactive, just chasing injuries as they appear.
To being proactive.
Yeah.
Fundamentally proactive. And to do that, you need a structure. You can't just wing it.
Okay, let's unpack that. So that proactive structure, it must start the second that pre-alert call comes in, way before the patient is even in the building.
That's it. We call it the 0-point survey, or the ZPS.
The ZPS.
Yes, it's your mental model for getting control. And it covers 3 domains: self, team, and environment. It's a checklist you have to run.
Okay, let's start with self. We all know that acute stress response, that shot of adrenaline, it can just fry your cognitive ability, can't it?
It absolutely does. So for you as the leader, the first thing is to get what some call the 0-point mindset.
And how do you do that? Is this the box breathing thing?
It is, but it's not just a relaxation trick. The mechanics are simple. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4.
Right.
But the point is that it's a tactical requirement. You are actively engaging your parasympathetic nervous system to bring your heart rate down. If you don't control your own stress, you lose bandwidth to think.
So the call comes in, you take a breath, and you ask yourself that pilot's question.
Am I fit to fly? Am I rested? Am I ready for this case right now? It starts with you.
Okay, so you've checked in with yourself, now the team. You've maybe got, 5 minutes before they arrive? That time is gold dust.
Absolute gold dust. And the pre-brief is your chance to build a shared mental model before the chaos starts. It needs 4 things.
Go on.
First, what do we know? Just the key facts from the pre-hospital crew. Second, what do we expect? And this is key. You have to voice the best case and the worst case. The traumatic arrest scenario.
So everyone's mentally prepared for the worst from the get-go.
Exactly. Third, what will we do? The immediate plan. And contingencies. What if we can't get an airway? And fourth, who does what? Clear roles.
And I heard a really interesting tip about this part.
Oh, yeah.
Using first names.
Yes, it's such a simple thing, but it's vital. Using first names in that brief flattens the hierarchy. It creates psychological safety and team cohesion before you're under fire.
I like that. Okay, and the last part of the ZPS. Ready? Your environment.
Yeah.
Your resuscitative real estate.
Right, and this is more than just checking the resus trolley. The physical space is an asset. You need 360-degree access to that patient.
And someone on the door. Crowd control.
You must have designated crouch and tray. You cannot have 10 people crowded in the bay. And then it's all about equipment anticipation.
The phrase is look at it, then look for it, isn't it?
That's the one. Don't assume it works. You want to be looking at the ultrasound with gel on the probe, not looking for the gel. RSI drugs drawn up, capnograph checked, and on the circuit, blood warmer running. These things buy you seconds, and seconds count.
Okay. The ZPS is done. The team is briefed. And now the doors fly open. Traumatic arrest. We're moving from prep to execution.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the leader's job fundamentally changes. You're not there to do the procedures anymore. You're there for strategic oversight.
That's the shift. The leader has to adopt what we call drone vision.
Drone vision. Tell me more.
You're maintaining this wide, global perspective of the whole scene. You can't let yourself get sucked into one single task, one procedure.
So where do you stand? How do you physically do that?
Foot of the bed. Standing at the foot of the bed is the best spot. From there, you can see the monitor, you can see the person on the airway, the people getting access, the whole team.
But that must be incredibly difficult. I mean, you're an expert clinician, you see someone struggling to get a line in, and you know you could do it in 5 seconds. The urge to jump in must be huge.
It's the single hardest thing.
Yeah.
It really is. But the moment you jump in to do a task, You lose your command presence.
And your drone vision.
You've completely lost your global awareness. Your job is to assign the right expert to the task and then focus on setting the pace. Your presence is shown through open posture, eye contact, and absolute clarity on roles.
And with time being the real enemy here, how do you inject that urgency without just shouting?
You set explicit, time-based targets. It makes the goal concrete.
So not just we need to do a thoracostomy, but
Right, team, I need bilateral chest drains in and ready for the surgeons in the next 7 minutes. That means by 8:12 on the clock. He gives everyone a razor-sharp deadline.
and what about the team's emotional state? I mean, for a junior doctor, this could be their first traumatic arrest. They're probably terrified.
You have to recognize that. You manage it by actively asking for input, flattening that hierarchy again, and just being aware. A hand on the shoulder can work wonders, but never, ever use sarcasm or humor at someone's expense. The trust just evaporates.
Right. So even the best strategy is useless if the communication breaks down.
Yeah.
And in a crisis, ambiguity is it's toxic.
It's lethal, so you have to enforce high-fidelity communication.
You mean closed-loop communication?
Yes, but the problem is, in a noisy, chaotic trauma bay, that third step, the sender's verification, is always the first thing to go.
Can you just recap the steps?
Sure. It's 3 steps. 1, the sender gives a clear instruction using the receiver's name. 2, the receiver repeats the instruction back, word for word.
Yep.
3, the sender confirms that the message was received correctly. Yes, that's correct. We know that process speeds up task completion by a factor of 3.6. It's incredibly effective.
But you're saying the leader has to be the one to enforce it?
You have to. If you give an order and you don't hear a repeat back, you have to stop and ask for it. The loop isn't closed, the task might not get done, or worse, get done wrong.
It's not just about orders, is it? The leader needs to communicate their own thinking to keep everyone on the same page.
Yes, another aviation concept. Fly by voice.
So you're literally thinking out loud.
You're verbalizing your thought process. Okay, I'm seeing the EtCO2 drop after that fluid bolus. I'm worried about ongoing hemorrhage. Let's get the massive transfusion protocol activated now.
So the team can anticipate your next move.
They know what you're thinking and why. And you also need rules to protect the really critical moments. A sterile cockpit.
Right, the below 10 rule.
Exactly. During a critical procedure intubation, placing a central line all non-essential chat stops, period. It protects the person doing the procedure from distraction.
And I've heard of the concept of a podium nurse. What's that?
It's a brilliant role. You assign a senior nurse to basically be your shadow. They're not hands-on with the patient. They track times, they take your orders, they read them back, and they keep that 360-degree awareness for you. They're your second brain.
That structural rigor has to extend to assertiveness, too. When a team member sees something is wrong, they need a safe way to speak up.
They absolutely do, and it starts with the leader. Your language has to be clear. It's give 500 mils of saline now, not, maybe we should think about some fluids.
No mitigating language.
None. And for team members, they need a framework. Graded assertiveness or PACE is a good one.
That's probe, alert, challenge, emergency.
Yes, it's a ladder of escalation. And that final step, emergency, is a hard stop. It's S stop P what you are doing. It gives people permission to halt the line if they see a critical safety issue.
Okay, so our mental rehearsal is now getting into the real cognitive battleground, maintaining situational awareness, SA, and avoiding those mental shortcuts our brains love to take under pressure.
The type 1 thinking errors, yeah. And SA is the bedrock of it all. We talk about the 3 levels.
Perception, comprehension, and projection.
Right. And perception is easy. That's just seeing the numbers. Comprehension is putting them together. But projection, that's the highest level.
That's predicting the future.
That's predicting the future. It's seeing the rising heart rate, adding it to the positive fast scan, and projecting that this patient is going to crash. So you activate the massive transfusion protocol before the blood pressure even drops. That's the skill.
And under pressure, that's the first thing to go.
The very first.
So how do you, as the leader, actively protect the team's SA when there's just so much information flying around?
You have to build in deliberate pauses. You mandate them. We call it a tactical pause or a step back.
So you literally just stop everything.
For 5 seconds. You stop and you ask the whole team out loud, what are we missing? It breaks the spell of fixation error. Another great tool is the 10 for 10.
10 for 10.
Every 10 minutes, you take 10 seconds. You recap what's been done, you summarize where you are now, and you agree on the next 2 priorities. It just keeps resyncing the whole team.
Let's talk about some of the specific cognitive traps. Search satisficing is a big one in trauma, isn't it?
Oh, it's a killer. You find the big bleed in the chest, and the cognitive trap is that you stop looking.
And you miss the pelvic fracture or the ruptured spleen?
Precisely. So the leader has to mitigate that. You have to explicitly state a differential and demand that the team looks for other things. You have to say, okay, we have a hemothorax. Now I want someone to check the pelvis and the long bones.
And what about confirmation bias?
Also lethal. That's when you only see the data that fix the diagnosis you've already decided on. The way to fight it is to actively try to prove yourself wrong. Ask the team, what data contradicts our theory? Tell me why this isn't a tension pneumothorax.
Then there's diagnostic momentum, just carrying on with the story you were given by the paramedics without a fresh look.
Which is why that pause and plan or step back when the patient arrives is so vital. You have to reset and challenge the story.
And what about your own personal state?
You have to be self-aware. Use a mnemonic like H else.
Wow.
Am I hungry, angry, late, or tired? If you are, you're more vulnerable to making an error. It's a personal safety check.
Okay, so these CRM skills, they're not innate. They have to be learned and practiced. But what about when conflict enters the room? Let's say a senior specialist arrives late and they're stressed and they start criticizing your management.
It's a classic scenario. And it's a real test of leadership. The key is you must not get drawn into an argument.
So you don't defend yourself.
No. You focus entirely on the patient's needs. You use influence techniques. You ask for their help to get them on board. We really need your surgical expertise right now. Our plan is X. Can you help us with the airway?
You're enrolling them in the solution.
Exactly. And if they're pushing back, reframe the problem in their language. If they're resisting an intervention for airway protection, you might say, from a neuroprotection point of view, are you happy with where we are? You appeal to their priorities.
And once the storm has passed, the learning has to happen in the debrief.
It's non-negotiable. You have to have an immediate hot debrief. Something like the take stock structures. Great. Is everyone okay? Any equipment problems? What went well? What could we improve?
But for the really deep learning, you recommend something else, the advocacy inquiry model.
Yes, because it gets under the surface of why people did what they did.
How does that work in practice?
So instead of just giving feedback, you start with advocacy. You state an objective observation and then your subjective concern. For example, I saw you were focused on the difficult IV for 3 minutes, and I was getting concerned we were delaying resuscitation.
Okay, that's the advocacy part.
Then you immediately follow it with inquiry, a genuinely curious question. I'm curious, how are you seeing the situation at that moment? What were your priorities?
So you're trying to understand their mental model.
Exactly. You uncover the faulty assumption that drove the action. That's where real behavioral change happens.
And none of this, absolutely none of it, can happen without a foundation of just culture.
Not a chance. People have to feel psychologically safe to speak up, to report near misses, to talk about their mistakes without fear of blame. Most errors are system flaws, not bad people.
So when we wrap all this up, this whole mental rehearsal, what does it mean for you as the team leader? It's a total shift, isn't it?
It is. You're moving from being the expert technician to being the master strategist of human factors.
It's about that proactive ZPS, the drone vision, the structured communication. That's the core of it.
It is. But there's one last layer. We have to remember that individual and team performance is always influenced by the system they're working in.
The SEEPS model: person, tasks, tools, environment, organization.
All of it. We know, for instance, that the noise level in a typical ED reduces speech intelligibility. That's a system flaw that directly causes errors. A leader with systems literacy doesn't just work around that flaw, they advocate to fix it.
That's the final step, moving from managing the event to improving the whole system.
That's the ultimate leverage point.
So here's the final thought for you to take away from this deep dive. Based on everything we've talked about today, the human factors, the cognitive traps, the system itself, what one system flaw in your emergency department will you advocate to change next week?